Chapter 4. The Characteristic Patterns of All Things. At that time, the great Bodhisattva Gunakara addressed the Buddha and said, "World-honored one, you have spoken about bodhisattvas skilled in the characteristic patterns of all things. Why do you so speak of them? Why do you describe them so?" Then the world-honored one addressed the Bodhisattva Gunakara and said, "It is excellent, Gunakara, that you have been able to question the Tathagata about this profound theme. You bring forth this question because you desire to benefit and gladden unlimited sentient beings, because you have compassion for the world with all its gods, men, angels, and so forth, so that they might be led to attain meaning, benefit, and happiness. Attend, and I will explain the marks of all things for you. In sum, the marks of all things are threefold. The first is the characteristic pattern of clinging to what is entirely imagined. The second is the characteristic pattern of other dependency. The third is the characteristic pattern of full perfection. The pattern of clinging to what is entirely imagined refers to the establishing of names and symbols for all things, and the distinguishing of their essences, whereby they come to be expressed in language. The pattern of other dependency refers to the pattern whereby all things arise codependently. For if this exists, then that exists, and if this arises, then that arises. This refers to the 12-fold conditions, starting with conditioned by ignorance are karmic formations, and ending with conditioned by origination is this grand mass of suffering, the last of the 12 conditions. The pattern of full perfection refers to the universally equal suchness of all things. Bodhisattvas penetrate to this suchness because of their resolute zeal, intelligent focusing, and true reflection. By gradually cultivating this penetration, they reach unsurpassed true awakening and actually realize perfection. Good son, the pattern of clinging to what is entirely imagined is like the defective vision of one who has cataracts in his eyes. The pattern of other dependency is like those deceptive images in the confused vision of the one with the cataracts, for they appear to be distinct images, such as hairs, flies, small particles, or patches of different colors. The pattern of full perfection is like the unconfused objects seen by the pure vision of one with sound eyes and no cataracts. Good son, it is just as when a pure crystal comes into contact with and is tinted with the color blue. It appears to be a blue sapphire or a blue gem. Because it takes on the appearance of blue sapphire or blue gem, it confuses sentient beings. When it comes into contact with the color red, it appears to be a ruby and so confuses sentient beings. When it comes into contact with the color green, it appears to be an emerald, and so confuses sentient beings. When it comes into contact with the color yellow, it seems to be gold, and so confuses sentient beings. Similarly, Gunakara, just as those tinted colors appear upon the pure crystal, so the propensity toward language of the characteristic pattern of clinging to what is imagined is superimposed upon the other dependent pattern. Just as upon that pure crystal one falsely clings to blue sapphires, rubies, emeralds, or gold, and so upon the other dependent pattern of consciousness one clings to the imagined, for that other dependent pattern is like the crystal. Just as when in a constant and continual fashion the pure crystal no longer has any images of sapphires, rubies, emeralds, or gold, it is without their reality or essence. So, when the pattern of other dependency no longer has imagined images in it, it is also in fact without their reality or essence, and is the pattern of full perfection. Furthermore, Gunakara, the imagined pattern can be understood as caused by the interplay between images and words. The other dependent pattern can be understood as caused by the grasping of those imagined images upon that other dependent pattern. The pattern of full perfection can be understood as caused by the absence of grasping the imagined pattern upon the other dependent pattern. If bodhisattvas are truly able to understand the imagined pattern as it arises upon the other dependent pattern in all things, they then will be truly able to understand all things as unmarked. If bodhisattvas are truly able to understand the other dependent pattern of their consciousness, they then will be truly able to understand all things as defiled. If bodhisattvas are truly able to understand the fully perfected pattern, then they will be truly able to understand all things as purified. If bodhisattvas truly understand all things as unmarked in the other dependent pattern, they then will be able to abandon defiled things. If they are able to abandon defiled things, they will be able to realize things as purified. In this fashion, Gunakara, since they truly understand all three patterns of consciousness, they will truly know things as unmarked, defiled, and purified. Because they abandon defiled things, they will realize things as purified. And this is why those bodhisattvas are described by the Tathagatas as skilled in the characteristic patterns of all things. Then the world-honored one recited these verses to emphasize his meaning. If one does not understand things as unmarked, one will be unable to abandon defiled things. Not being able to abandon defiled things, one will obstruct the realization of wondrously purified things. Not gaining insight into the sinfulness of all one's actions, one will be wild, sinful, and injurious to sentient beings. Sadly enmeshed in transient things, are not such people lost and pitiable?